Hey there, this is Pat Wong. Welcome to this video on how to exercise for maximum fat burning. The first concept is that men, you have to stop training like a bodybuilder, or at least stop training like a bodybuilder in a bulking phase. While this advice may sound logical, many people are reading magazines geared toward adding muscle, or listening to people who never had to struggle with weight problems. And ladies, you're not off the hook either. You're tougher than you think. Stop acting like you're a porcelain doll and use some challenging weight. Most of you ladies are following a toning protocol without burning what's on top of your probably already toned muscles. But going back to the men for a moment, as I said, most magazines talk about fitness. And when it comes right down to it, they focus on building muscle. If they talk about fat burning, their advice might be good for the workout, maybe, but their dieting advice is usually terrible. They still look at it like bodybuilding. And if they don't, they overcomplicate it. And if you're still looking at the same magazine, you'll usually find contradictory articles within the same issue. Now, when we talk about big muscles, sure, they can help you with strength, but not nearly as much as people think. That's why power lifters and bodybuilders have totally different training programs and look totally different. Now, having more muscle will help you burn more calories in the long run, but if you want to lose it now, you still need something different. You need a totally different approach. Now, going back to the women, most of the workouts promoted to you are not challenging enough. Sure, I know you're scoffing at me because at the end you're beaten up. But you know why that is? It's because of the sheer amounts of repetitions with wimpy weights. You end up tired, but you probably didn't burn much fat, if any at all. Sure, you've toned your muscles, but what about that layer of fat laying over it? Now, also keep in mind, magazines have fitness models. They're probably not using the routine in the article. Movie stars also have at least 12, maybe 16 weeks or more to focus on getting in shape for a role. You don't have time for that, and their programs can't even be sustained. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at Chris Hemsworth, as in Thor. Now here he is, still looking like he's in decent shape in Ghostbusters, but look at how much skinnier and less Thor-like he is. And I'm not talking about the glasses. He was actually quoted in saying that the best part about his role in Ghostbusters was that he did not have to go to the gym.
But can you just talk a little bit about the difference between playing Thor and playing Kevin?
Yeah, a lot of differences. I didn't have to go to the gym, which was nice.
We like that you go to the gym.
We love that you go to the gym. Love going.
Then, of course, there's Henry Cavill as Superman. He worked out on average 2.5 hours a day, 5 to 6 days per week for 10 months. Can you sustain that? I assume you're too busy for that because you have a life. But let me stop you right here. If you're looking for bodybuilding or just toning, please look elsewhere. There are plenty of good resources on that, and the truth is, you probably already have been looking at them. And maybe I make a series on that in the future. But if you want to know how to get a more athletic look, be more functional, and grow and tone muscles as a side effect, then I invite you to the solution for people who don't have Hollywood time, who don't have Hollywood resources, and for people who have a life, people like you. The truth is, we can take part of those Hollywood programs and turn every exercise session into an intense cardio session, even if we're doing strength training. So imagine if you could maximize fat burning while building strength and still building tone and muscle, but secondarily. Now maybe it sounds too good to be true, but would you at least be interested? If you're willing to make some small changes to what you might already be doing, put in some work, and need to drop 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 or even 100 pounds, welcome to the solution. And when we're talking about strength training, the solution is circuit training. But what is it and why is it superior? It started in 1953 at a British university. They found that circuit training will burn 30% more calories than traditional weight training. And in my opinion, that's a conservative estimate. Decades ago, it then started to go mainstream, partially due to a man named Vince Gironda. I know, I said don't train like a bodybuilder, and now I show a dude who looks like a bodybuilder. But please hear me out. He was known as the first physique coach and even the first personal trainer. He did train bodybuilders like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's not the reason why I want you to pay attention to him. The whole reason why I bring him up is because he also trained many of the stars, primarily of the 70s and 80s, but also in the 90s. Back then, the Hollywood studios only gave him 10 to 14 days to transform the physiques of actors and actresses. And guess what? The main component of the training was circuit training. And if it helps add to the case, circuit training was also the main part of Bruce Lee's weight training program for many, many years. And the truth is, today's celebrities still do this. It's just that for them, they focus on a bulk up phase first for a significantly long time. Then they do circuit training as the final phase of their transformation. But if you need to lose weight fast, flip-flop that. But this assumes you have some sort of base level of strength and fitness. Now, even the guys I mentioned before did this as the last part of their training for those roles. It just wasn't the emphasis. Maybe about 1/3 of their program was circuit training after first adding more muscle. The ladies in Hollywood do it too. The only problem is they tend to do it for somewhere between 100 and 300 reps per exercise with a very light weight. Ladies, you can do better. They're just toning and had little weight to lose when they first came in. And as I said, they did it somewhere between 100 and 300 reps per exercise, usually 5 to 10 exercises per workout. Now, does it sound like you'd have any energy left to do anything else after a workout like that? Does it sound time consuming? But let's ground this and understand it a little bit better. Unlike most traditional programs where you focus on one body part, you want to get a full body workout. In fact, if you do exercise regularly now, take those same exercises, but mix them up so you move from one section of the body to a completely different one. You do this through the entire workout until you're done. Now, there's a range in how you can approach this. You can work every muscle within the workout with no rest, or you can work half the body one day and the other half another day. And people who do this tend to use a push-pull system where they do pushing exercises one day and pulling exercises on another day. Usually they use 5 to 8 exercises per workout, but the amount of sets completely vary. It can be low rep or high rep, but usually 8 to 12 reps. 20 is okay, but usually too much. The key here is intensity, as in use a challenging weight with little rest in between exercises, if any at all. Usually you're done within 45 minutes and sometimes as little as 20 minutes. However, I do have to warn you, this can be very dangerous, especially if you haven't been doing an exercise program now. It sounds simple, and it is, but simple doesn't mean easy. Only start this after you're medically cleared and have some level of fitness. It's very taxing on the body. Imagine doing a full body sprint. It's not something you can sustain in the long term. From experience, I would say don't focus on this more than 4 weeks in a row to be as safe as it can be. That's about when most people begin slowing down with progress. But definitely don't do it more than 6 weeks. This is where I start to see people injure themselves. You may be able to handle this, but get professional medical guidance first. Otherwise, you're going to have to start with a different kind of program before starting circuit training. If you're not doing any exercise, start with getting some base level strength first. Remember, this is how celebrities cut down, and this is what I've focused on every time I needed to lose weight fast. So have my clients and those in my coaching group. So remember to mix up the order of body parts and have very little rest in between exercises. But long-term use is overtaxing, and do it no more than 6 weeks at a time. Even 2 might be enough for some people. And there are many great programs out there, but the problem is they're too extreme for a person who hasn't been working out. These are not starting points. If you're interested, ask about joining our coaching group or book a consult with me. If it doesn't sound like your gym or setup will allow you to do circuit training, I'm sure we can figure out a way. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll talk more about cardio, pure cardio. Because if you're going to do pure cardio for fat burning, you might as well do it efficiently. This has been Pat Wong once again. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.